We are wired for sound. We are good. Hello, ladies and gentlemen, and very welcome to the Zero Bucks Given podcast studio, where we are about to broadcast a very, very, very political broadcast. So we will, if anyone from a certain genre or a certain age will remember that there used to be broadcasts on RTE television, and to start off with, this is a political broadcast. It could be in the middle of a movie. But anyways, we are living in extraordinary times. We've had an extraordinary last 6 to 7 days, and we're going to get right into it right now with a very good friend of mine and someone that was in the middle of the whole thing in Dublin during the week. I've wanted to bring this fella on the podcast for a long time now. But tonight I have the pleasure of having him on. So, Darragh McShane, thank you so much for joining me on the Zero Bucks Given.
Thank you, Stevie, and hello everybody.
Couch, yes.
We did it again, huh?
Yes. Maybe go a little bit closer.
Yeah, of course.
Just anyone in the comments, let us know if the sound is okay.
I've been known to not need a megaphone anyway.
Yes. Well, unfortunately for this, we do.
Yeah.
Michael is in the chat. Shane is in the chat. We have loads of messages that came in. I put a questionnaire up yesterday. As you can imagine, I was inundated with questions and statements and people's analysis and looking for our analysis. And we'll get into that. This won't be a quick podcast. We're going to get into as much as we possibly can. So we will. And we have a lot of stuff wrote down. So bear with us. This is live. This won't be edited. This is going straight out. So is this the camera we're into now, Ethan? Middle one. That's 100%. So I will be checking the phone as well for comments. I have loads of questions there, but let's get straight into it. Darragh, you went up on Tuesday. From the beginning.
From the beginning.
You've obviously heard about it. How long in advance did you know about it? This is I
suppose you could almost say years.
Okay.
You could almost say you were waiting for the straw that was going to break the camel's back, almost looking at it, the legs crippling.
Yeah.
You know, so I suppose the talks were there in 2021. The same people that were there in the street were saying that this was coming.
Oh, I understand that, yeah.
There definitely was weeks of this ramping up where it was a bit more visible to the public eye, and I think that's just more that people are now starting to distrust mainstream media more, starting to listen to the common man who's keeping himself in the loop of things. But this exact moment has been talked about since 2021 by the same people.
Yes. The likes of Christopher Duffy.
The likes of those fellas and a lot more. A lot of people that most people wouldn't know. They're very, very educated.
Yes.
A lot of people that deserve credit that in time they will. You know, I don't want to give full names of people who...
People on the ground?
People on the ground, absolutely. People elsewhere, people online. I suppose people all over the world. People around Europe need to realise that in the start of June, our government is going to occupy 1/3 of the EU presidency. And how they treat us, they treat the rest of the European citizens too. That's 350 million people.
Yes.
You know?
We'll get into all that. The mistrust of mainstream media as well. Do you feel, I feel, that it is guided by higher levels?
Yeah, unfortunately.
Yeah.
I just saw an interview there recently with John, poor John he's not an organizer, he's an advocate.
Yeah.
Do you know, that's the truth. I met this man, he's an advocate.
Yeah.
And they need to stop engaging with the mainstream media.
Okay.
They need to start reaching to the likes of this, you know, or just understand that this is a social media storm. I actually think that a big victory in this is that there's no TD, there's no media outlet that is gaining the traction that the common man and woman is in this.
Well, that's the beauty of social media. It also has its downfalls as well, as I've said on this podcast many a time, and indeed on social media itself. The thing is, you're never going to get rid of mainstream media, but you have to. My thing is, think for yourself. If it doesn't make sense in your own head, and then it doesn't make sense.
You need to use discernment.
Yeah.
Big time. Yeah. Like,
critical thinking.
Absolutely. Especially when I try to maintain that the only thing that I really, really know is what's in front of my nose. Now, this week, what was in front of my nose and what was portrayed to the rest of the country was two polar opposites.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, I've seen that myself.
Yeah. It's the reality of it. I suppose it's the justification model, isn't it? You poke the bear long enough, the bear's going to scratch and then you can shoot it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Exactly. I made a video during the week. I said, beware the wrath of a patient man or patient men.
That, and I agree. Yeah.
You know, it's only so much people can take. And this thing that blame America, this has been going on for way longer than Donald was in. Way longer. And it's just been mounting up all the time. And if you were to listen to, I was listening to RT1 News on the way down from, I done a show in Wicklow Friday night. I left Mayo, went into Mullingar, came out of Mullingar. I had about a 6 or 7 minute delay on the M50. Everyone was getting through in a nice, even flow. And it was very well organised by the protesters in conjunction with An Garda Síochána. And I know that they've got an awful lot of shit over the last few days, but I hope, like a hand on heart, I hope that it is just a selected few that were out. I don't believe that the normal Garda on the street would put themselves forward for the activity that went on. But anyway, apart from that, it was so well organised. I got up to Wicklow, the quickest I ever got up if I didn't have to go into Mullingar, 100%. And then you see this one didn't get into their appointments and that one didn't get into their appointments. It was, first of all, it was a protest. It was a lockdown. You're going to have that every day. Every single day your people are going to miss appointments. What happened to the appointments between 2020 and 2022? There was no mention of them, right? They were all cancelled. Go home, pour yourself a nice bottle of shotting off now you can go fuck yourself.
Yes, yeah.
Basically. Yeah. But suddenly now it was appointments. Oh, the doctor's appointments. Well, the pensioners aren't able to. It was horseshit.
Think of this, folks. It was last year, our entire half of the country shut down over a storm. We had people freeze to death in their homes. And we requested the army.
That is true.
That army did not come. The year before that, we had the Dublin riots, where our businesses were being torn apart, looted. The streets were being literally destroyed. There was no riot guards that was deployed on horseback.
Yes, that'd make you question.
In the manner that happened, literally to about a group of less than 30 men.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
I've seen the video today.
Yes. Sorry, folks. In terms of the guards, it's a strange one to kind of watch, because what happens is you get a small group of guards that will show up, and they're quite friendly. To be honest, we actually ended up on a first name basis with a lot of them. And it really humanizes your communication with them. What happens is when things get serious, all of those boys get cleared out and the new ones come in, and they don't know you. They haven't been speaking to you for the last 4 or 5 days. You know what I mean?
The rapport is gone.
That whole human connection is completely gone. And those lads that were originally there probably moved off to somewhere else, to start to circle all over again,
Yes.
Don't get me wrong, it's an awful situation to be in for the guards, for the army and stuff. I'm kind of proud of the little number of the army that come out. And for me personally, I've been coached by some soldiers. I've trained alongside some soldiers and their children. And I've also coached soldiers. It would have been very personally hurtful to look across the road and see soldiers threatening us.
Yes. I do believe there was a very small. Was there any of the army in
all I saw was 2 vehicles.
Yeah,
2 recovery vehicles.
It was a minimum.
I don't know how far they were going to get anyway. What good they were going to do.
Yeah.
I'm not much of a farmer guy, but I learned this week that you don't have the keys, you're going to destroy a tractor trying to move it.
Yeah.
So.
Yes, of course, 100%, and that's what the farmers always said. But the thing is, they maintained a peaceful protest throughout. They never raised their hands.
I think it's mad to think that this has gone on quite long.
Yeah.
Yeah. A week of how big it was is a pretty long time.
Yes.
Have you heard of any deaths? Have you seen a video of any fights that didn't involve a person and a state official? There was nothing. I put up a video to show people just what it was like on the Saturday. I was also down in Dublin for Paddy's Day with my family.
Okay.
Hand on heart, my kids had more fun on Saturday. The streets were cleaner on Saturday.
Yes.
Do you know what I mean? Like the kids had a ceilidh in the middle of O'Connell Bridge.
I heard.
A day or two before, a father drove down with his 2 sons from Donegal because he saw O'Connell Bridge was empty and said, I'm going down there to play football with you.
Mm-hmm.
That's probably never happened ever.
No.
You know,
there was a lot of people saying that the streets of Dublin haven't been that safe in 40 years.
I heard so many women say that. A few Dublin women got introduced to a few farmers as well. I think.
Oh, very good.
Yeah, we had COVID babies, right? We're probably going to have protest babies. Yeah, I really think so.
Excellent, yeah.
yeah. Good on you, folks. Well,
they'll come out wearing lumberjacket jackets and wellies. But in general, the protesters held their dignity very high
from the get-go. I can tell you the next morning. Dublin City wakens up very quickly. Like it's a 5-minute transition.
Oh, yeah.
Dublin's asleep to awake.
I love Dublin.
We saw the Cisco vans. I'm not sure how you pronounce it, but it was essentially the milk and bread of the city.
Yes.
We said we can't stop that. You know.
Yeah.
And we talked to the guards. We got the green light to let those deliveries through. Keep Dublin fed. About an hour later, the same guard came over and said, "You can't pick and choose." And we're not going to argue with that, but you know, we were on the pretense of let's make sure people are fed.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? So
how do you mean you can't pick and choose?
No idea. Do you know?
Wasn't it a good thing that you were letting restock?
Absolutely. And there's talk of ambulances being refused. And this talk is from the capital. It's not from somewhere else in the country. This is ground zero where I was.
Yes.
They got the red carpet through.
Yes.
Any food drive or anything was helped through and donated to.
Yes.
We had a lot of homeless people show up to us, and they were helping themselves. They were told, take more. For every sandwich you take, 10 more is going to arrive. Take enough for a week.
Yes.
You know, it was the biggest communal thing that I've ever witnessed. Honestly, I've never felt more in love with Dublin City in my life.
Yeah.
You know, in the last few years as an adult, I enjoy Dublin more. Now it's my favorite city on the planet.
It's
what I mean?
Always been one of my favorite cities, and it gets a bad rap.
I've never had more food.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You know, so thank you, Dublin. Thank you, Dublin.
All the homeless in around the city should have landed down.
Yeah, I think they did.
Yeah, maybe they did.
Sure they did.
Yeah, very good. Well, that's the flip side of it. And if you were to listen to RTE, it was people were missing their appointments, and this was all. Another one was that it was all America's fault, and I was like, it's amazing the difference of critical thinking. Think to yourself. Remember, they much forget that people have memories. That remember before Donald Trump got in as president. This has been going on way before that.
You can't blame Donald Trump. I know people complain about the bus shelter out there in the Dáil or wherever it was. Well, there's a bus shelter right there in Leitrim.
Yes.
That cost more.
I done a video about it.
It costs more than most people's houses. Yeah. And the thing doesn't even have walls.
750,000 euro.
Doesn't even have walls.
Yeah.
Yet behind the hotel, right across the road, there's a bus shelter with walls.
Yeah.
And it's in the most useless place you could imagine. You know?
But that's been the case in Ireland for about 50 years. Planning is just no one. There's people in offices. They're not on the ground. They haven't a Scooby fucking do.
It's illogical altogether.
And that has ended up with the waste of money. We're wasting. We're leaking. We're bleeding money.
Oh yes.
All the time.
Oh yes.
In every aspect. In every when it comes to like the hospitals, the roads, everything, housing.
If I go back to just what's in front of me now, is half of our county is decimated by the Sitka spruce. 90% of the raw timber is sent off to England. We buy back the finished product.
Yes.
Now, if we're worried about carbon tax and all of this malarkey,
yes,
what are we doing there? You know.
I know. It's the same with turf. We were told to stop cutting our own turf, and yet we're bringing in shiploads of thousands of tons of peat into the country to make briquettes and various other things from Poland and the Ukraine, or I don't know if it's still coming from the Ukraine, but definitely from Poland. It's like cutting the top cutting 2 inches off the top of a blanket, stitching on to the bottom, and thinking that you have a longer blanket.
I have a lad there who keeps in contact with me. He like his line of work is restoring the old houses. You know, like when people get those grants and the likes of that. Firstly, he's saying he hasn't done a single one for a person in front of him. Most of the people that are purchasing these houses are in other countries and buying houses on the phone.
Yes.
Getting those grants.
Yes.
That we fund.
Yes.
Do you know, like,
such a
think
waste
about that, folks, you know.
Red tape and bureaucracy is just leaking money.
Yes. Yeah. It's a
and that's from the top.
What's the way to put it? It's a silent, unseen land grab.
Yeah.
You know, like a lot of houses are being built up that have been in ruins for a long time and it looks beautiful, but ain't nobody living in them.
Yeah.
You know,
waste of time. It's like trying to tie down the wind.
It's for a portfolio for someone else somewhere else, you know.
Yeah. Now, so let's get back. Let's paint the picture of all the days. Tuesday, where were you staying?
Oh, wherever my arse would sit.
Okay.
Yeah.
But your kids weren't. Were your kids?
No, absolutely not.
Oh yeah, I was thinking.
Yeah, that's something I'd like to touch on in a few minutes too. No, O'Connell Street. It was the statue.
Yes.
Yeah. Right above me was
very
my
patriotic.
It was my family crest, so I felt a little protected.
Okay.
Yeah. After that, it was less of nightly stays. I think I stayed the following night actually as well. My apologies. Same scenario. But after that, it was trains. You know, I've done maybe 34 hours of traveling as well between all of this. Yeah. I am drained. Yeah.
Yes, I bet.
I will tell people as well is that the lads out there, the lads and lassies, like they look determined and stuff like that, but it's very, very hard. Like for myself, how do I justify being away from my 2 kids for this? You know, how do I explain that to my toddlers that there is a bigger picture at play here? And you know yourself, they grow fast.
Yeah.
Like I did miss things, you know, and there's a lot of conflict going on emotionally.
Yes,
for
of course.
Everybody there.
Well, I'd like to think it's for the greater good, and these sacrifices, in the grand scheme of things, in future you look back and think that, or be able to say that at least you made the effort, whether it was for the better or
I know
or
my
worse.
kids will respect what
Absolutely.
I did this week. I know they will.
And same with the men that were up there for the 5 and 6 days.
Yeah.
And will be there in the future, I am pretty sure, because I'm sure this is not over.
Can I try and break that part down why it's not over, right? There's an effort at the minute to find an organizer of this. And the truth is, the thread has been pulled on a woven blanket and the rest of the threads have collapsed.
Okay.
You can't blame the thread that first fell.
Okay.
That's like, there's 1,001 problems. And there's no one particular party that can have the answer to these things. Yeah, which I kind of have a solution to that.
Okay.
Yeah? Bit of a history lesson, guys. Yeah, you mightn't have expected that. When our Free State was established in 22, Dev gained his traction with what you call a direct citizens initiative. Yeah, it's what I advocate for the most out of Everton. That required 75,000 supporters. Yeah. After that, goes into a vote. Whatever it is. You get me? So you might propose something, and back then, if 75,000 people agree with you, put it up to a vote to a country. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
I personally think that 75,000 is too low. I think that's very open to abuse.
Yeah.
But anyway, I digress. In the transitory period from 1922 to 1937, when we're kind of clearing out all the previous system, because systems don't change overnight. It takes a long time.
Yes.
Back then, without the technology we have now, 15 years is pretty fast. Fair dues to them.
Okay.
The Direct Citizens Initiative was called Article 48. Dev got in because of Article 48, saw the power that it had, and deleted it without the consent of the people. So our 1937 Constitution is basically a defunct, empty promise. You get me?
Well, that's the Constitution we work off now.
That's the Constitution we work off now, where there's no mention of a TD or a Choctaw. There's no mention of like a representative. The word is ruler, you know?
Okay.
Yeah. There's no due process to hold any of these people accountable for something that they might do. I mean, you wash your hands fairly quickly of this stuff, you know? Swindling money, that type of thing, you know? It's not hard to get away with it.
Mm-hmm.
There's a good fella there, Albert Dolan. I don't know what party he's with or whatever, but I did see him tear into, there was 500,000 that was swindled. Now, the reality is, fair play to him for calling it out, but ain't nothing going to be done with our current construct.
Okay.
Now, folks, what I would like to suggest, okay, is reinstate Article 48. Set a bar of 250,000 people. Okay, now that's just over the 3.5% threshold of the population. In political science, 3.5% of a peaceful movement has pretty much always been successful.
Yes,
I think we both
that.
agree that we have gone well past 3.5%.
Well past.
Yeah. Now, in my lifetime, there's only been 2 moments where I could see where something like that would have been used. That's the water protests and now. You get me?
Yeah.
So that's not exactly removing power from the government. It's given us a balance. It's given us the chance of intervention when it's necessary, when the whole country has joined like this.
Yes.
2 moments in my lifetime. That's not a lot. That's plenty of busy work for them to do. In those 2 moments, that's a lot that we could have changed very quickly. It's something that could have united us, It's something that could have avoided all of this week.
Yes.
Switzerland has this set up. Switzerland has the highest level of satisfaction with democracy.
Yes.
And with their politicians.
I know that's one of the questions, actually. It's one of the questions I highlighted is what governing policy, what country would you look to bring in to improve things in this country?
Can't go wrong. I mean, look, if you're going to look to anything, those 2 facts, the highest level of democracy and with your politicians. Who doesn't want that? Like, we don't want to hate our politicians.
I know. That's exactly another video I made during the week is I don't want any government to fall. I didn't want this government to fail. I want this government to be strong.
I actually believe in our state.
Yeah.
Of
course I do. I love my state. I love my country.
Yeah.
I wanted this government to represent and live up to the standard of the great people that are in it.
What was promised.
Yes.
Prosperity, freedom, abundance, and a power to your voice.
And that goes for Irish people and people that have came into the country and made a living for themselves and a life for themselves here. If you're in here to make a better life, or you're here and you're trying to make a better life, or you're Irish and you're here and you're trying to make a life for yourself and your family, by all means, you should be getting every bit of help that you possibly can, because you will eventually give it back.
Of course,
you give it back. It's like a circle. It's like a cycle. So you're only as strong as your weakest link. And the government are just proven time and time again that they're weak, very weak, and it feels to me like they're not loyal to the actual country itself, but to out
I would call our
side
government
sources.
Equivalent of the county council.
Yeah.
Our government is the county council of Ireland.
Yes.
But ultimately they have to listen to the EU, which is unfortunate, folks. We need to change that.
Can we have a stronger voice though to converse with the EU a little bit stronger or better? Will it make a difference?
We're going to be a part of the presidency.
Yeah. Will that give us any more power?
Not as it currently stands, folks.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to just shorten the Direct Citizens Initiative into a DCI. Okay. We need that DCI. Look, we got a whole bunch of stuff that's going on in this country that people are arguing about, that are in conflict. We've got this whole left and right spectrum, all of this stuff going on. If you believe that what you are standing for is just and is right, then let's put it to a DCI. Because if the majority agrees with you, then they agree with you.
Yeah.
And if they don't, you live in the wrong place. Like if we had a vote tomorrow, should we just kick everybody out that isn't Irish or isn't white or something?
No, you can't do that.
To be honest, I'd go to Italy or something.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? Like it's the balance setter. It's the truth setter.
Yes.
It shows what the majority wants.
Yes.
And to be honest, it's letting democracy actually breathe.
Yes.
I really do believe in democracy.
I don't believe there's a democracy in this country at all.
I don't. I believe that we have a painted picture of democracy.
Mm-hmm.
And that's why people are falling out with the idea of it. But folks, I ask you, what's the alternative? Like, don't get me wrong, it has its flaws and it always will.
Yeah.
But we're not supposed to be governing millions of people. There's going to be flaws in that.
Absolutely. When I do my government rants, I am not looking for this utopia. Everyone would love to live in a utopia. I do know that there's going to be kinks and things. Everything is not going to run smoothly. But when you see a fundamental collapse of how it's meant to work for the people that these people swore an oath to serve, and it's just getting a kick in the bollocks every time.
You should never have to block a road to have your voice heard.
Yes, well, 100%. But it had to be done. Something had to be done, and that was we'll say the least, in my opinion, the least resistant way of doing it. It was the most democratic way of doing it.
Absolutely. Option number 2, what? Storm the Dáil?
Yeah.
Destroy our own buildings.
People were saying you have to march on the Dáil and destroy. That doesn't work. Because you will lose the public. You need the public behind you. Do you think that the protesters throughout the country this week have the majority of the people in this country behind them?
Absolutely.
Yes.
Without a doubt. Now, when I say that, I understand that when I go online, it's my bubble. That's my echo chamber. But I talk to many people in my town that support it. That would surprise me that support it. People might also be surprised that I have many left people in my life.
Yes.
Many extreme lefts.
Okay.
And many right. Not so much extreme right, actually. Yeah. People might be surprised by that. But
I think the extreme left and right are very, very minor.
They exist, but it's a lot smaller than people think.
Yes,
I can tell you that.
They're just very loud.
Yeah, exactly. Chinese penny's going to be grabbed type of thing.
Yes.
But it's a funny one because it's the fanatics on either side that actually make it impossible to gel together.
Yes.
Well,
they're taking away the good work that both sides are doing.
Absolutely. At the end of the day, people are just fighting for what they're standing up for, what they believe in. But there's extremism on either side that it's like
it's devaluing the opinions and the work that both sides are doing. Now, I am clearly leaning towards the right of centre, but I'm a lot more centre than people think I am.
I agree.
If you meet me in life, I am very centred.
Yeah.
Shy Baby, when it comes to making videos and that, Shy Babies get no sweets. I've said it 1,000 times. I need something that hooks people in, and then the message is in the video someplace. But in reality, I am a lot more to the center than you would imagine. And I think most people in Ireland are.
Yeah. See, it's a funny one because I've been quite revolutionary, we'll say, since about the age of 16, 17.
Yes. I'll get you back for another podcast another time for all that story as well.
I've a lot.
Yes, I know you do.
A lot.
I know you do.
But I'll tell you one thing. My morals and my standing on things, I wouldn't say they've changed. Like, they've stood fairly firm, and things I believe in, maybe they've expanded. But they've definitely not switched and, turned on their head. I haven't changed where I stand. And I've noticed that the floor has done a complete 360 on me.
What's
or 180.
Whose definition of intelligence was being able to hold two thoughts at the same time, two different...
You need to be objective to yourself.
Yes, absolutely. I'm just going to get in. I'm just going to have a quick look. There is so many messages, guys. We're not going to be able to get through them all. This is nuts. Fair play for speaking up for the protesters, Mr. Kelly. And indeed, I'd say that goes for Darragh as well. Sound is okay. That's good. What's Gavigan's thoughts on this? He's not here to defend himself, but I will get him up on this as well. Chris is a good man. Chris is one of the left-leaning, very good friends of mine. Good man, Darragh. It was magical last week in O'Connell Street. That comes in from Jared Canning. Does it ring a bell?
Oh yes, hello, Jared.
Fair play.
How are you, sir?
Gab says definitely felt safer on Saturday in O'Connell Street than I have in a long time. Well, that says a lot.
I did. I heard that a lot. I did.
Yeah, that's a common. It's a common comment that I've seen on a lot of videos. but that's for another podcast. This is what the government hates: uniting the communities. We'll go into that.
Yeah. Yes, please.
Yes, that is a very good comment, Denise. Yeah,
Mhm.
Denise. That's exactly what they don't want,
Yeah.
and that's what I was trying to do in the videos all week, to unite people. It doesn't matter if you're left. It doesn't matter if you're right. We have to become one for a better for everyone.
I'm going to ruffle a few feathers.
Yeah.
On
Feathers need to be ruffled.
Yeah, on the far right, you've got some religious fanatics, maybe even some Nazism. On the far left, you've got some, what's the way to put them? It's very hard to describe these people, isn't it? On the very, very far extreme of the left. It's a lot of...
I have a name for them, but I let you...
It's a lot of, you will kneel to my beliefs.
Yes.
And that is it. Now...
No tolerance.
By nature, these beliefs and these religious beliefs can never come together. I can't help but believe that that's by design. Now, it's those people in between, okay? I'm not talking about...
Which I would call the majority.
Yeah, I'm not talking even to the center people. I'm talking to the people who would openly declare themselves left, but not extreme, openly right, but not far right. It's our job to keep those two spectrums apart. That makes sense.
Yes.
You know, and in that we can start to have a little bit of unity. You know, it's no different. Like I hold to, if it makes sense in one area of life, it has to make sense in all areas of life.
Yes.
It's no different than a magnet. You know, it's no different than a battery.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I could put it in many, many ways, but there is, like a plant, you've got your leaves, you've got your roots. Those two things can't switch places, but they're held together by the trunk, which is us. You know, there is a very, very strong possibility of unity here.
Yes.
Only if we can agree to figure out what the country wants as adults. Like the days of sticks and stones and swords and armor and all, it's all gone. It is now suits and logic.
Yes.
Yes.
You'd like to think so.
Yes. Yeah, unfortunately. But it's what it is what it's supposed to be. Yeah. Like you can't go out and rally your army and, you know, we're going to raise all the other towns and
yes. Well, that's it. I mean, yeah, exactly.
Yeah. The facts of the matter is
but you'd have no town left.
Yeah. We have to figure out what it is that the majority of this country believes in as many possible talking points that we've had, and get it all cleared out, because it is the only solution. You know, like if you believe that we should be a globalist country, we should be strongly throwing our money into carbon tax and stuff like that, that's fine if you believe that. If you're pro-abortion or against abortion, that's fine if you believe that.
Yes.
Who am I to decide? I don't know.
Yes.
But the only way we figure it out
majority
is with a direct citizens initiative.
Okay.
And I tell you why, because our state representatives are behind that door, hand-picking what we
something to say to them.
what we get to choose, what we get to vote on. We need that opportunity to propose our own things.
Yeah.
You know, because I can tell you right now, the political world in Ireland right now is in complete utter disarray.
Yeah.
Because they don't know what the request is right now.
And another thing is, it has never been easier to vote. You don't have to do weeks and weeks of social media makes it very, very easy to get you. You don't have to go door to door, and you don't have to be putting posters all over the fucking place.
They're still very old school with how
very
old
school,
aren't they? It's kind of funny to look at.
A referendum could technically be done overnight online.
I'd actually prefer paper voting.
Well, I like paper too.
Yeah.
But if it was something that we'll say wasn't life or death in the country and it needed to go to the majority,
Totally
what would you
agree.
like?
I think, okay, look, if I propose something and people agree with it, we need like a 3-month information period. You know what I mean? Where we can debate and talk, and I'm not talking about RT or nothing like that. I'm just talking about blogs. I'm just talking about people having their opinion out there. Social media naturally gives traction to, I mean, it tries to adjust things with the algorithm, but sometimes you just can't stop people from catching on to something. You know that yourself.
Yeah.
Like, enough people talking about something, the proper opinions get out there. They do. Like, it's how we got here.
Yeah.
You know, which is something else I'd like to touch on. There's so much to break down here. But yeah, like, because sometimes like our state, they'll make decisions in haste that seem great. And then the domino effect happens, and maybe it wasn't so great. You know, like joining the Did you hear that? You know, but yes, folks, it's
for anyone that didn't hear it, he said that would, like joining the EU, which had its good points, and I think has bad points as well.
I believe in the idea of the EU. I just think it's gone in a very, very poor direction.
Yeah, well,
you know?
It's a bit like, as Jimmy Carr said, communism. It was a great idea, but just the wrong species.
I like it. I like Jimmy Carr. You know
and he's more impressed me lately with his serious stuff and his logic than he has with his.
My brother got the pleasure of meeting himself and Chris Eubank Jr.
Very
together
good.
in the same room. I was very, very jealous.
Close on.
Close on. Unfortunately, but look, we'll get back to it. Right. Our biggest threat right now, folks, in all of this traction and everything that we've done, all of this work and the heartache that we've been through, and I know how shattered people are. Like what I've done this week is a scratch on what some of those men have done. We are in a really positive but also detrimental stage right here, in the sense that if we come with 1,001 requests from small little groups that are all just popping up organically, because now we're all in this together now. But if they can't have a tab on what it is that we're looking for, this is going to be shut down. It's going to be shut down hard. We've been seeing that over the last few days. And that's exactly the statement that they said. What do you want? We don't know what you want. Article 48. Reinstate 48. In the Dáil, they call it the ghost of Article 48 because they hate it being brought up that much, because it still haunts the halls of the Dáil. Do you know? It's that powerful. It's that important. Do you know? Look at Switzerland. Like they've got their government so under wraps that they now focus on their bankers, and they do a pretty damn good job of that.
Yeah.
Do you know?
Well, to go back to the question that is written down there, which government policy of any other country would you like to see implemented? I think we have an opportunity in this country to set our own frame.
Yes. Yeah.
Right now,
I would encourage people to start looking up Brehon law and how it can be modernized. I have spent.
Well, that won't happen overnight.
Absolutely not. There's a lot of it that needs to change.
So we don't need a quick fix, but we need something to happen fairly quick, and then develop it.
Yeah, like we're in a really, really positive time here. Okay, like in history, okay, we had the Renaissance. The Renaissance happened because of one of the worst catastrophes that ever happened in the world, and that was the Mongol horde. Yeah. They secured what you call the Silk Road. The Silk Road was a trade route through like India and all of these things. But they, with so many horses, so many people, it solidified. And they also, Mongols now controlled and policed the Silk Road, which maintained the order of it. Now, if you imagine you're on the far side of India and you want to just travel your spices all the way as far as you can.
Which, by the way, people will be watching this and be like, what's he going on about Silk Road? That's 400 and 500 years ago. It is happening right now in the
full circle
in the Strait of Hormuz. It's the same control.
Yeah. In conversations like this, like I'm a layered thinker, folks. Let that go full circle before we push it along. All right. Now, when they policed that Silk Road, okay, it allowed trade to go undeterred. A horse and a carriage could bring its spices, its exotic stuff, all the way through India to the edge, looking over Europe, without bandits, without blockades and blockades of tax collectors. You know what I mean? Of all sorts. The Mongols allowed trade to touch into the edge of Europe.
Sounds familiar.
Now, yes. Now, when the Khan died, they have to go back to Mongolia. That's how they operated to elect a new Khan. They had a specific area where they would go to do all that stuff. Now, because of that, the Silk Road is now basically peeking into Europe, and Europe's peeking back at it. The Renaissance happened because of the Mongol horde. We all got to interconnect. Italy is kind of like the hub of it because it sits kind of like this, right in between everything. Yeah. Sorry. Now, because of the Renaissance, we developed faster than any other time in history. Like things sped up drastically. And then we came with something called the printing press.
Yes.
This is where that ball is starting to get a little bit halfway there now, folks, okay? We developed the printing press. And with that, we could share information way faster than before. You have to imagine,
Yes.
like, if you wanted to learn something, you
Who
might have
invented
to
the
wait for a
printing
man to
press?
come
Was it
from.
Gettysburg?
Sorry?
Who invented the printing press?
I'm not sure. Names
Yeah.
and dates
Okay,
are lost
okay,
to me.
okay.
Like the bare nuts and bolts is what I focus
Okay,
on.
go.
The wider picture of things.
Sorry, that just popped in.
No, you're good. You're good. Now, the printing press allowed information to be shared at an extremely rapid pace. Like, you're talking people who could not read could still copy an entire book.
Yes.
You get me? And this led from the age of Renaissance into what you call the age of enlightenment. Now, in the revolutionary world, we have what you call coffee shop revolutionaries. Yeah. Now, that's in modern terms, that's useless revolutionaries. But back then, the coffee shop is where the revolution happened. Regular people got to sit and listen to the most highest level of debates you can imagine. The age of enlightenment led to the age of revolution. Yeah. And that happened because of information sharing.
Mm-hmm.
Now, folks, those little devices that we have in our
Yes.
pockets are the worst things that was ever put in our pocket and the
Yes.
strongest thing that we've ever had.
Yes.
We
I
are
firmly believe it.
in the
On
age
both
of
counts.
enlightenment. We're in the new age of
Yes.
enlightenment. That's why you're seeing all of the sudden. You are watching the system collapse, and do not despair. In the words of Charlie Chaplin, what you're seeing is simply the passing of greed. Do not despair for the hardship.
Yes.
You know, that is a reality. It is the natural cycle of how things
Well, the
go.
quicker it comes, the better.
And right now we're entering, because things happen much faster.
Mhm.
Again, back to makes sense in one area, has to make sense in all. I make arrows. A good arrow is going to take me 6 months to make. But you can also make a metal arrow and make 100 of them in an hour.
Yes.
You know, and now that also is happening here. Our age of enlightenment happened in maybe the span of 15, 20 years.
Mhm.
And we're very quickly entering the age of revolution.
Okay.
What we need to be wary of is,
And that's sorry. And that's my point in one of the videos I done as well. We are on the precipice of doing something in this country that the whole world is watching.
folks, let me tell you, the age of revolution is when we gained every single human right that we have. I don't think most people realize this, but the world wasn't always like this. The world has been like this for 80 years. Yeah. The only thing that separates us from the era of warlords is a piece of paper and a handshake agreement that's called the UN. You know what I mean? That was decided after the World Wars.
Yes.
The World War, by the way, came after the age of revolution. You get me? After
Yes.
people gained more rights than they ever had, or more education and more rights than they've ever had in their life,
Yes.
a world war happened.
Yes.
You know, you had the Versailles Treaty, which was basically called back then a 20-year ceasefire.
Okay.
And then World War II happened.
Yes.
You get me? After that,
It's like it was planned.
and who knows? We only know what's in front of our nose.
Yes, that's true.
But we can also look at history and understand that what we did then, we're doing now too, just faster.
Yes.
You know, we're just getting better at repeating
Yes.
the cycle.
And the problem is,
It's momentum. That ball is rolling downhill.
with arms developing the way they are as well, it's becoming more and more dangerous. Very dangerous.
Yeah. It is. I really, really do believe that we wake up and we live our lives as individuals. You know, like my father could be a doctor, I could be an engineer. I wish. But I really think they just kind of step onto a revolving door.
Yeah.
You know, and they just keep that thing spinning.
Yeah.
You know, there's a little bit of hemming and hawing in between, but ultimately it's all headed the same direction.
Yeah.
Which is, look, it has always been warlords trying to gain control. We've had 80 years where it's supposedly not been that in our whole human history. And you're telling me that there's people out there who think there's people not trying to gain control of us and doing a good job of it.
Yeah.
80 years over 4,500.
Yes.
Come on, guys. Like, there's people out there who they want to enslave you. It's a reality of the world.
Oh, it boils down to like, there's only about, is it 800 people in the world that are actually running the world? Maybe even less.
I'm not sure, but what I can tell you is, like, there's a good chunk of the city of London that there's people sitting at home right now. They collect rent off that. Their ancestors gained that land during Normandy times.
Yeah.
Do you know, like Vikings?
Yeah.
And they still have a legal entitlement over that land.
What did you think of Jim O'Callaghan coming out and associating what was going on and the protesters with an action on behalf, I think it was the sentence he used, of Tommy Robinson?
What was the deal with Tommy Robinson? What was his
you know
involvement?
Tommy Robinson?
I do. But what
So
exactly?
he compared the protesters.
Mm.
You probably didn't see it, so I know that you were out there. He compared the protesters to Tommy Robinson
Mm.
in a roundabout way, but it was basically what I felt it was to compare and tarnish the protesters as right wing.
The media is lying to you. There was a morning there. There was an army of Irish flags showed up.
Mm-hmm.
There was also an army of Palestinian flag wavers too.
Mm-hmm.
There was no fights.
Yes.
You know what I mean? An hour or two later, a horde of travelers in horse and cart showed up, and it was amazing. It was amazing. You know, like what is being portrayed that's actually out there. It couldn't be further from the truth.
Yes.
There is fanatics there. There is, but they're like 2 people.
Yeah.
You know, like I've been there, guys, and I know the people that ye are thinking about. I actually have spoken to them. You know, I know the people that you're thinking. You don't have to worry about them. You really don't.
Yeah.
Like, it's not.
Well, they're just making noise.
Yeah, but it's like they're
empty vessels make the most noise, as I said.
Like, no disrespect, they're over the hill. Okay. You know what I mean?
Their time is up.
Yeah. You know, like they're not getting anywhere anyway. You know?
I'm going to go back into the comments. Gab says, I think that was in reference to your when you said about people ringing up and buying property here.
Oh yes, yeah.
So foreigners can buy up all the houses and the land. Yeah.
All I can relay to you is what
in your own experience,
is what has been said to me and what I see in my own area of life.
And Galway, great gathering today. And in Dublin, tractors still on many roads. Well, I say fair play. Well done, and congratulations to everyone that made the effort or didn't make the effort, as you were told not to make any effort today. So either or, I commend ye all. Ireland will rise. I hope so, Jared. I hope so. And in a good way. We don't want to be like aggressive. We don't want to come out of this and start
empowerment.
Yeah, exactly. Like we're always been known as the land of 1,000 million welcomes and that, but I wanted to go back to that.
Mm-hmm.
I wanted to go back to that bit of mehel that
I still think we are.
Yeah,
you know,
and I think I think so too. Mm-hmm. Things are just going not in the right direction, and as the likes of Donald Byrne says, just to get that bit of community spirit back, a bit of mehel.
I really think this rejuvenated.
Yeah, I think so.
Things I really do.
I hope so.
Yeah. While you're scrolling, I'll just tell the people as well.
Yeah.
There is an effort to find the organisers of this stuff, and even there in Carrick, in my little town. Okay. I mean, it's a small place. You got less than 5,000 people living there. The poster popped up for yesterday for the protest. Or it's not a protest. It was a walk. It was a march. It was a march. You know, we need to stop calling these things protests.
Yes.
People out in unison. Now, the poster that came out, it said at the bottom of it, Irish flags only. Now, again, this is a very, very small town, and so you're talking about 10% of the town's population showed up, and also people from the wider county area. But nobody knew who the organizer was. I had 2 news outlets come up and ask me, was I the organizer? And in news outlets, there's no point coming up to me. I don't like you. I am not going to do an interview with you. But anywho, I digress again. I got one name that was a possible organizer and that he was over here in X building. I went over, he wasn't there. You know, he wasn't walking with us or anything like that. So we need to try and find out where these posters are coming from. Because if people are trying to now all of a sudden portray this as some far right movement and stuff like that, it's not. You know, it's a human effort that is being portrayed as something else. You know.
Just getting back to some of the comments here. There's so many of them. Like I said, I'm not going to be able to read them all. Gather until the guards come crawling, begging for a spud. Noah. I don't really know what that means. We need to demand a referendum on immigration, and Gab says we cannot allow mass immigration.
We going on immigration?
I'd like to veer away because I've got into enough trouble with immigration, and she says no, we can't. I understand we can't allow mass immigration, but I would like to sort out that what's going on in the country at the minute and the people that are in it. As I said, I would like to differentiate between the immigrants that are coming in and putting their shoulder to the wheel and the people that are being brought in just to sponge off the social welfare system. But that's another thing. And I'd like to veer away from the immigration topic
problem,
for
yeah.
this.
All
We'll
good.
stick to what's at hand at the minute.
We're not against immigrants. We're against policies.
Yes. Problem is, Stephen, politicians. The legal system. Oh, someone said about the 48. If we had Article 48, we could call a referendum on any issue with 250,000 signatures.
No, the figure was 75,000
At
in
the time.
1922. But it's
1922?
Yes.
All right, okay.
That's too abusable.
Yes. So it's 250. It must be gone up.
Bet your arse there's 75,000 idiots at least in this country. Yeah, and you don't want them to be able
Oh, you
to
never have to pack an idiot because there'll always be one there.
The goal of any political movement should be 3.5% of a population.
Yes.
The vast majority, like you're talking in the 90 percentile, the vast majority of peaceful protests that went into that 3.5% population threshold have pretty much all been successful. We've gone well beyond that. I still think for Ireland, 3.5% of us is 198,000 people. Actually, that's not that bad. That's a good number. Do you know? It's up to us to figure that out. I think 250k is a good start. Do you know?
Yes, I think it is a reasonable number.
It's not abusable. It's only using those drastic moments that we all agree on. I genuinely, like, it's a solution where we're currently in a quagmire of problems. In my lifetime before all of this crap, it was the water protests and probably
this is bigger than the water protests, though.
Absolutely.
Yeah, way bigger.
It started as a fuel thing. You know? So I'm going to say the fuel protest and the water protest could have been sorted fairly quick with a DCI. Okay.
Yes.
Everything else that is amalgamated now after this, that's where people need to understand. If you want to be an adult about this, put it to a DCI, and if it fails, you're going to have to take that on the chin.
Yes.
You know.
And one of the questions here, and it's here a few times as well, is it about fuel now?
No.
Absolutely not.
Look, Micheál Martin and Simon, you need to learn some social skills and how to actually address people.
Oh, unbelievable! The condescending attitude, I think, is what pissed people off the most.
Yes.
It was like the execution of the 1916 leaders. It was the moment that the country went, fuck you.
They really saw the nature of the beast.
Yes,
didn't they?
yes.
Yeah. And maybe we'll get into those two boys in a second. But it's not. It really, really is. Like, look, if you guys focus in on Article 48, it's now a civil rights movement. You have every right to request something of how your country runs. We need a good chunk of people to be in and saying the same thing. Yeah. How could anyone out there possibly not want you to have more power to your voice and how your country runs?
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, it's how things should be. I maintain with my two kids, look, there's people out there that are called sir. There's people out there that are called your majesty. There's people out there that you have to listen to every word they say. And as long as that is the reality, you, my girl, you're a queen. Yeah, you're a king. You're a king. I am a king. You understand that? And I believe that right down to the core of my bones. That's the reality. I have put my crown on, and I want every single one of you to put your crown on and level.
As long as everyone remembers that I am the king. Joke, of course.
About that. I'm a son of Shane.
Yes. We'll get into that. We'll get into that some other time.
Now, the two lads, Mr. Micheál and Mr. Simon. Lads, don't think I hate you. I actually recognize that you've got a brass neck. You know, it can't be easy taking all this fucking abuse all the time. Yeah. I recognize.
I think but the thing about that is, I think they're completely oblivious to it. Oh, yeah. Or very close to it.
Yeah, possibly. Who knows? Because we're all in an echo chamber in our lives, aren't we?
True. Yeah.
I recognize that the two lads are loved by someone and love someone. Yeah. I just think they're crap at their job.
Absolutely.
You know, like there's like I think Catherine is crap at her job too.
Oh.
She's like, so far she's
showed. The only reason she got in is because the people that she was going up against,
folks,
were even worse.
Answer yourselves this, right? Has she not showed up to every event like she's the priest at a funeral?
Yeah.
You know, I felt like I was watching a funeral.
She'd bring the mood at a funeral down, so she would.
Yeah. We are Irish. We want to be happy. Yeah. And none of you talk to us like school principals. And we've got pride. A lot of it.
Yes.
You know,
we're a very proud nation.
Yes, there is a way to approach people. I think my best contribution to the protest was simply keeping the people in the vehicles happy, letting them know that we're thankful. Yes. You know that you are cooperating with us. You're not trying to run us over or anything like that. we're very aware of the law also. Advice, because these protests are popping up at other places, guys, okay? Imagine just a map. You can't draw a straight line through that map and not allow people to get home. It doesn't matter if it's an hour, 2 hours. If there's an alternative way to get home, you're good.
Yes.
You're good. Don't.
And that's exactly what exactly what happened.
Oh, yeah. Oh,
and I said it. I said the routes that were chosen were chosen in that in mind. It was so well.
O'Connell Bridge has 4 fingers on either side
Yes.
of it with a crossroads on the end of each of those. We know that.
And the same in Sligo. There was turn-offs every so often. It was blocked up. It was slowed down. And then eventually after, not long, it might feel long in your car, but it was 10, 15 minutes. And then you got to the next turn-off. Really so if you wanted to veer off, easy.
Yeah.
So everyone was getting to appointments.
Yeah. They're in character yesterday. Of all of the vehicles, we had one. We had one troublemaker.
Okay.
And he started to drive his car through people. You know what I mean? Like he started to touch people with his vehicle.
Wow.
Yeah. Children and women. I had 2 boys, right? Actually, the front of our march was 4 kids with the Irish flag. Yeah. They took that upon themselves. No one put them up there. They took that upon themselves. They're 5 feet behind me and that man started driving. You know, think about that.
Yeah.
400 people.
An agitator?
No,
just a dick.
I will say, actually, you know what? For a very small town, I've never seen him before in my life.
Okay.
But he said he lived around the corner. It's like, I don't know what corner from where we're standing.
Right.
You know, people will know the layout of our town.
Era says no. Ask Darragh what happens if there's a snap election.
What do you want?
I don't think there can be exactly a snap election, can there?
In what sense?
Like, I mean,
just general election overnight.
Yeah.
No, they'll have to put into no confidence first.
Yes.
Yeah, with Article 48, it does not matter who's in there. Let them do their busy work, and the second they start fecking up, we'll be like, hey, hold on a second. Yeah, it doesn't matter who's in there as long as there's a DCI. Article 48 is our answer. It does not matter.
If we don't get that, apart from all that,
we're
I know
for a big problem.
Yeah,
we are. I have put that question of Article 48 to a lot of TDs, and they all respond to me for other questions, but I've never got a response from this one until this morning. And respect to you, that TD or councillor from Leitrim, I openly said, look, like, I don't support your party. I respect your party's efforts for fighting for what they believe in, etc., etc. But he also kind of hinted that he doesn't want an Article 48.
Okay.
You know, he did say that we are looking at going towards a long-term coalition government.
You see, I think that's wrong.
That sounds brutal, Steve.
Yeah, that's what we've had already. That's what we have now.
We have so many of those supporters that would love to see them finally get in, that they'll say yes to anything.
Yeah.
A long-term coalition government.
That's a disaster.
We've just suffered that for the last 100 years.
Yeah.
No.
Because Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael, by all imagination and by all accounts, are, I won't even say the derogatory term, but they're 2 ends of the same.
Oh, yeah.
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 And the opposition that this is the problem. The opposition that they did have in Sinn Féin are basically just Fianna Fáil light.
Well, look at this, right? They're getting cheered in one town and booed out of another. They're not going to work.
Yeah.
That's not going to work. We're just going to be right back to square one. You know?
Yeah.
Like, there'll be a few people that get to pat themselves in the back and a few people go home and lick their wounds. But ultimately, the ones that are out in the street right now would probably still be out in the street.
Would a change of, I think the ultimate goal is to get the 2 lads that are there out. I would prefer if there was stronger opposition against Fianna Fáil and Fine Gael.
I saw Pierce.
Are our parties big enough? Yeah, I'd even give it to Baldy McDonough at this stage. Just let him run it.
Right, okay. Like, I saw Pierce put up a video earlier and it had this big emotional backdrop music and stuff going on. It's like, guys, come on. You can't be pulled that easily. Okay. I've heard you say before at one stage you were a big Shinner.
Yeah.
Me too. My family, like going to their meetings, all of that type of stuff. And I can tell you, I know what it's like, and inside where it's very cult-like.
Yeah.
You know, very, very cult-like. I have seen people that have been in really, really bad situations in life, and they start to kind of turn it around, and Sinn Féin will latch their talons onto them. Okay.
Yes.
Now, I would call that radicalization.
Okay.
Do you know, like, that's no different than someone getting beaten up in the street and the skinheads pulling up beside him. Hey, kid, what happened to you? Well, come on, we're fighting for you. And
Okay.
3 months later, he looks like them. He's speaking for them and
Yes.
stuff. That's radicalization.
Yeah.
Do you know, I've seen a lot of people in really, really bad situations, and Sinn Féin latches them on, propels them up, but you will never be a TD.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? You'll be a counsellor.
Yes.
You
Yes.
know?
Just to keep
I think that the counsellor is a beautiful position.
Okay.
I would really like that. I would like to do that.
Okay. If I was getting into it, I think I'd go for TD.
Yeah.
Straight to the fucking top.
Really? Yeah. You'd
But-
like to be a TD?
Oh yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
100%.
Yeah.
And I put in the work as well.
I know you would, yeah.
But there is actually a drive at the minute, and I just want to say this, and this goes out to, if anyone knows any of the sitting TDs or backbenchers, independents, or any of the parties that are swinging towards a confident vote in the election, I just asking, I'm begging you to make them think about it. Make them think about a vote of no confidence. And I will be doing a video about this after this podcast, but that's for again. So I think it's imperative that we get the two lads that are running at the minute out of there completely.
Yeah.
I think as I said in the video, and I know I use these analysis and these one-liners for the humor aspect of things. I said they're like two lads that suck a dick for the bus fare and then walk home anyway. I just think they're all, I just think they're just nuts. They're just not fit for purpose. We'll get a few more comments in. We're over an hour at the minute.
It'd be interesting to see how the EU presidency would work if our two top boys were.
Yeah.
Took that,
Oh my God.
Mhm.
But getting back to our own president, she's gone completely missing in action altogether. But that was always going to happen.
Yeah.
You know how she got in is completely beyond me. I know she had her supporters, but I don't
It's
know.
once that little coalition of the left happened, didn't it?
Yeah.
You know.
There's a lot of questions, comments about the immigrants.
That's okay. Hey, like, I know you might not want to get into, but I can take the brunt of that.
Yeah, it's not it's I've done it to death. I've done it to death. If you want to have a little chat
Rant,
about it
little
there,
rant.
put the camera over to Darragh. I'll pick out some of the
When it comes to people that are in danger, I think we'd agree that we're all willing to help people that are in danger. But we're not willing to step on the heads of our own people to be seen to be the first ones to help. That makes sense, folks? Yeah. We also don't want to be handing out more than what we can gain ourselves. Now, when we just talk about general immigration and uncapped immigration in every country, ask yourselves, where are the immigrants coming from? They're usually coming from these lesser off countries, okay? Now, the ones who have a second language or have the funds to move out of their country, they go from being some of the top dogs of the working class to the bottom rung immediately. It's also a term called brain drain, where your best and your brightest leave. Stephen was on a show, what was it, Dinner with the Enemy?
Dinner with the Enemy, yeah.
So Dill, who seems like a lovely lady, by the way. But if I look at my own perspective of things, a question that was brought to me, it's one that I wrote down that it clung on to me, was how did you respond to the comments that you're a racist and a homophobe and all this type of stuff? My building where I live is surrounded by Ukrainians. I eat and talk to them regularly, yeah. And I can easily sit with them and say, look, like, yeah, of course we're happy to help. I just wish you were able to go home, and I wish we weren't breaking our back giving you everything. You know, would you like another cup of tea? You know, like, I'm a man. I can talk anything with you and still love you. You know what I mean? Like, we can disagree on the hardest of things. As long as, like, psychos, this is not your part of the talk. If you're not going to hurt someone or you're not going to damage something, you're cool with me. You know, Mike, we can disagree on everything. And you're still a human being who's loved. Yeah. But now, where were we there, Stephen? What did you ask me there?
Well, just to talk about the immigration, but another, I'll just get into some of the topics or some of the statements.
Problems of life.
O'Callaghan, Jim O'Callaghan, obviously, when I was talking about Jim O'Callaghan, got his Crown education at Cambridge, research deep into him. I know this, and I don't even think you need to. I don't even think you need to research deep into him either. I think it's pretty apparent, and it's pretty public knowledge that he's very West British.
Well, your education defines how you suss out the world.
Yeah.
His education was English common law.
Yeah.
And then he comes to Ireland, and his brain is automatically going to try to conflict with our law.
Yes.
That's by nature. That's human nature.
Yes.
It's unavoidable.
Yeah.
I've had a lot of people say that he's good. I don't think so.
Yeah. I don't think so either. I don't think he has the best interest of this country at heart. I think he has the best interest of the Irish upper echelons at heart, as does Micheál Martin. I don't know if this is true, but a couple of people commented when I went on about Micheál Martin that he was closely related. His grandfather had close ties to Churchill, or maybe his great grandfather. But anyway, that I'll have to check that out.
Yeah.
Great speech in Carrick yesterday, Darragh. That's from Bincroy Cottage.
Oh, hello. Thank you.
Media is the worst. Ireland will rise. You have my support all the way from California.
I
Thank you very much.
want to say to the people, right, this is for your own inspiration, okay? I never ever planned to do that speech yesterday. It's just I saw we had a little start walking. Like, no, get back here for a second. When I was in primary school, I could not speak in class. I would sweat, go red, like my ears would burn.
Yes.
I could not. Yeah.
Well, it's harder than people think.
Oh no, this was debilitating.
Yes.
Like, I mean, like heart rate, this was, it debilitated me. And perseverance. I said it in Carrick. You have to persist to persevere. Yeah. If I can sit here and do this, or what I did in Carrick yesterday, if you knew me and what I was like as a child trying to speak, you can completely revolutionize yourself.
Yes.
Yeah. It is a reality. It's something that I really
can train yourself to do it.
Absolutely. It's something that you were really, really good at was when we first met. I can't remember what it was. I think it was Sligo. Do you remember it was Valentine's Day? Was that the Hardy Man?
We weren't dating or anything.
Was that the Hardy Man? I can't remember.
That's Galway.
That was Galway, wasn't it? But you were so good at reminding me to talk big about myself.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like you really, really were. And the caliber of man that Stephen is, folks, right? Okay. I watched the Hardy books and stuff since I was about maybe 17. So over half of my life, I've seen you boys face. I've got like a group of maybe 8 friends that like were tight. And our crack was going into the house and it'd be you boys and the Teddy. Okay. Now, when I went to my first show, I got talking to Pete simply because Pete was at the door.
Yes.
Didn't get a chance to talk to yourself. I was a little bit nervous. But
where was the first show?
The first show was Sligo.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I didn't get to talk to you.
Okay.
Okay. Now, the next one was Galway. We had such a laugh at the Sligo one. Like, it was brilliant. Like, the mix of the crowd and stuff, it was fucking unbelievable. It really was. And then you popped up with a Galway one. It was like, going down again. Yeah. Now, the show had finished, and you were just swarmed by people. Absolutely swarmed. So I was like, fuck, for a fucking fag. Went out for a fag. Mrs. was getting ready. I went back in to grab my pint. Now, folks, never met the man in my life. Locked eyes. Stephen walks right up to me with the hand out. Darragh, isn't it? Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, I was just a follower at that stage. Straight out with the hand.
We had a great chat in the foyer.
Yes.
We sat down for ages.
That's right. Yeah.
And the missus. And your missus.
Oh, sorry?
And your missus as well.
Right,
yeah, we might crack.
Remember the other couple as well. Neve and I'm so sorry.
Oh my God, yes, they were mighty crack.
Oh, do you know what? We've kept in touch since then.
Yeah, likewise.
So a beautiful little friendship actually came from that between my couple and their couple. Isn't that amazing?
Yeah. Neve, and I forget that.
She had the laugh.
Yes. And they were no more than ye. They were so much in love. They were taking the piss out of each other, but it was great to see. Great couple.
She had this really cute kind of when she laughed. I remember the whole crowd fucking set off.
But when people like that are in the crowd, it's infectious. And everyone else buzzes off.
It's a real I'm telling you, it's one of the best shows folks have been to. And that's not promotion, it's just hand on heart the truth.
Yeah, we're going to get that as a reel.
Clip it. But that is the truth. I can do a lot of things.
Going back to your nervousness of speaking when you were a kid, I was very shy as a kid as well. But I've said this in other podcasts, whether it was on my own or not, that I was very shy, but I always wanted to be able to speak in public. I always wanted to be on stage or whatever. So I tell you what I used to do. I used to put myself into positions, because when you're a shy teenager and you're on your own, even going into a shop or going into a restaurant ordering something is a big task. So I'd make myself go in on my own in a busy crowd and stand up and put my hand up and try and do it in a nice, respectful way. One of the things I used to do was, around the time of the boom, like every shop was busy and everything like that. So I'd go in just with change in my pocket. So I'd have €2 or maybe even punt at the time. I don't know.
Definitely punt.
So I'd go in and I'd buy something, a couple of bits that were small, and then I wouldn't have a card or cash. I'd have made sure I'd have enough in what I had in my pocket, but I'd have to count it out. Do you understand? I'd have to count it out. So a lot of people that would
just a little bit of pressure.
A little bit of pressure. A little bit of pressure that you were able to count it out under pressure and get it done. And eventually it got easier and easier. And then you'd be able to talk while you're doing it, you're able to talk then with the person. So it was just teaching that little bit of confidence.
For me, I didn't have that kind of balls.
Yeah.
Well,
you developed them.
No,
you developed them.
That's not true. I always stood up for myself and for the right thing. Always. That was always.
Oh, moral compass is incredible.
There was one time when I was about 7, I nearly got ripped up by a pack of dogs saving a cat.
Right. Okay.
So
okay.
that, you know what I mean? That was in me. You know what I mean? But
that could be a euphemism.
But I tell you, right. For me, I was more forced into it. I like you said, there's so much for another time, and I would love to be back on. It's probably the only place I actually feel comfortable, you know. But for me, I was more forced into it. I was moved across the country, and it really did save my life. It really, really did.
That'll ask one of the questions here. Is that a Dundalk accent?
What's the name? Well done.
Boom. Just boom.
Well, boom. So, I've lived half my life on the east side. I'm also northern born. So I've gone Newry, Dundalk, Leitrim.
Northern born. Are we on the Game of Thrones?
If you imagine like the whole head of the north and then a little scoop right underneath, I've done it all. I'm surprised you caught up on that. Most people ask me, if I'm in Dundalk, I get asked where I'm from. If I'm in Leitrim, I get asked where I'm from.
Okay.
But I love it. I've met the total polar opposite of this country. And I'm telling you, Leitrim and Dundalk, you need to have a party. You love each other.
Yeah.
You'd love each other.
There's great people in this country, even from Roscommon.
Yes. Yeah. My missus from Roscommon. Or mom and dad might be watching now.
Be careful, because the pay people in the US to start protests. Yes, that's a very good Pamela
in Ireland, and I can confirm that.
Yes, negative protests, agitators. So I'm going to put my bit in, and then from your experience, did you experience anything in Dublin? I got loads of messages. There's only so many videos I can make in the one day as well, and I try and get it, because I've other bits going on as well. So I tried to share a couple of stories where the protesters were told to beware and be vigilant of people that were infiltrating the protests. They went in nice and dandy in the background. And they were there to agitate, to give the riot squad an excuse to justification.
That's gone on for
so
over 10 years.
You have to be careful of that. You have to be very, very vigilant. So be aware of around if someone, farmers are there's a huge amount of farmers in this country, but if there's one thing farmers are good at is knowing who you are. If you're in the farmer community, if you don't know them, the next person definitely will. They're very. It's a click like.
Farmers saved my life.
Yeah.
And that's why I'm here with you this week. You saved my life and made me a man. That's the truth.
Well, there you go.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely. We had 2 lads show up, clearly leftists, and they shouldered an old man to the ground.
Right.
Yeah. Now these aren't. When I say leftists that showed up to it, so a lot of them were fine, but these 2 were clearly there on an agenda from the get-go. And I can also confirm. Not me personally, but I can confirm personally that I know for a fact that goes on in Ireland, because I know someone personally who was paid to go to Portugal and join a protest.
Okay.
And I know that for a fact. So
Yes.
that is a reality.
Well, there you go, people.
It is a reality.
Yeah.
Yeah. People are.
And you've no reason to make that up.
Yes. Folks, I don't want to be here. I said this in the video earlier. Okay. I belong in the forests and in the river and the seas.
That's where I dragged him out of. I dragged him out of the forest.
Like I make arrows from ash and cedar. Do you know what I mean? Like I go surfing. I make twine from blackberry bushes. You know what I mean? Like I make traps. I grow plants and stuff. I don't want to do this. It's just what's right. It's just what's right to do. So I have no reason to say anything other than what I've seen in front of my nose.
And the same as me.
Yeah.
People think I'm being paid to agitate. Nothing. I wish I was.
Yeah, no. All of this to me is like an episode of Black Mirror. Like, it really, really makes me uncomfortable. Me, I'm like, when you lock eyes with a fox and they run off, I'm the fox.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yes.
Actually, right, here's a great one for you to go look up. The Cregan White Hair by Darragh O'Farrell. Darragh, you've made me cry happiness more times than you can imagine. Okay, but that song would describe me. When people are asking me to go into government and stuff like that, the Cregan White Hair, okay? I'm happy to be seen, but you'll never fucking catch me.
Okay.
No way. Yeah. But Darragh O'Farrell, I advise you very much to look him up. Good man. Yeah.
So there you go. And it's this thing about conspiracy theories that these are paid agitators. They're 100% there, 100%. Yeah, and it's coming from government.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's very little that's starting to be actual conspiracies.
No.
What does the word conspiracy mean? It means people are conspiring to do something.
Yeah.
The theory part just simply means that we don't have proof of it.
Yeah.
You start to get the proof later in life, you know, when it actually shows up in front of your nose.
Davin Morrison, watching out here in Vancouver, thousands watching here in Vancouver, trying to get back
Canada?
home.
Yeah,
Canada. Vancouver is
Boston.
very Irish.
Mm-hmm. Canada, Boston, UK, Northern Ireland, South Africa, Argentina, all sorts of countries have been in touch saying we're watching very closely. And you should be, because if they get into the presidency, what they do to us, they do to you.
Yeah.
This is why I spoke at Carrick, right? This is why it's so important, okay? Left or right, even middle, even completely detached, everyone out there is fighting for their quality of life. And because of that, they've been battered, pepper sprayed, their vehicles seized, thrown into a jail cell. And if we don't do something about that, 10 or 20 years from now, that is your children standing up for their quality of life that will suffer the exact same fate unless us, this generation, stand up and say, that's not happening to my children.
There you go. That was a real William Wallace, Mel Gibson moment there.
Really?
So it was powerful.
Right.
Just
okay.
go a little bit more to the mic, or move the mic,
Sorry, folks,
mic in a bit.
Okay.
Who do we? This is a very tough question.
Go ahead. I like them.
Who do we vote for if there is an election? All parties are agree on the same. I'm presuming that was all parties agree on the same politics.
The bottom line principles that really, really unite them all, that is detrimental to us, exists in every single party.
Yeah.
I trust none of them. I'm not even talking about probably 75% of the TDs. But to be honest, most of them mean nothing. Like, unfortunately, they mean nothing. They are spokespersons. I know some of them personally, okay? And this is why I hate the attitude of, you disagree with me, you hate me. That's online. Like, you know, I've been blocked by people that a long time ago, I've actually sat beside in class, you know, but I've had the most uncomfortable loggerheads with Chris Duffy, for example. But yeah, I still shake his hand and I will introduce him to my kids. You know what I mean? And all this type of stuff. Like,
you can respect someone's opinion and their ideal.
I hate.
Yeah.
I hate.
Without agreeing with it.
Yes. You know what I mean? Like, it's the nature of the beast. But look, right, when it comes to these TDs, some of them I know personally. Now, I'm not asking if you're on the sides of fox hunting or if you're not. But I know some personally that are totally, utterly against it. And when asked about it, this was their response. I am in support of it as per my party's manifesto.
Oh my God.
Now think how dangerous that is, guys. Think how dangerous that is. I know that these people are not okay with it, but they are okay with it as per their party's manifesto. That's dangerous.
That's very dangerous. That's towing the party line. And I done a video at the last general election. And what I was advising people to do is sit down, have a think, critical think about the people that are running in their constituencies,
Mm.
right? And what they would, the people that have done the work, and I really do think we need a change. As for parties, we need a strong opposition party.
Mhm.
I don't think that's Sinn Féin anymore.
No.
We need a big, like a new party, one of the newer ones.
Mhm. I honestly, Stephen, right?
I'm not nailing my
Yeah.
colors
Yeah.
to the mast right yet,
Mhm.
but we definitely need a change. We need someone strong to stand up.
Shout out to my revolution ma, who educated me in something that runs deep. Yeah. Shout out to you. I've read our constitution a few times. No matter who steps in there, can do feck all different than the people that are currently in there by the confines of our constitution.
Mhm.
That's a reality. They will have to do pretty much the same. We elect folks 38% of our government, and that includes our president. So it's actually less than that. You know, we've executive, judicial, and legislative. Yeah. Most of the ones that we elect basically kind of have to go on best legal advice from the rest that we don't
Okay.
elect. You know?
Well, you see, that's why I'm thinking a strong government needs to change that.
Mhm, mhm.
Also, what I'm going to say is we need to elect people that are able to communicate and connect with the public,
Mhm, mhm.
because that is part
Yeah.
of the problem.
Part
There
of
is
the
a
problem
massive disconnection.
Yeah. It's different though. Like again, right? I think of our government as the equivalent of the county council. Like our government, our council to our government is to the EU. If you look at that very base personality that our heads of state have, it's the same. It's the same everywhere.
Mm-hmm.
Folks, I know most of you aren't as like politically inclined or interested as I am. But during the McCurser thing,
Mm-hmm.
the stance that the four main parties took and all of that, Stephen, that was a mirror to every country in Europe.
Mm-hmm.
It was
a director from the
just
EU.
different names and spoken in a different language.
Yeah.
But all four parties' suggestions was the exact same as our ones.
Yeah.
The exact same. It's just we don't pay attention to that. Do you know what I mean?
That's just, you're as well just to call it the EU instead of Ireland anymore. Our sovereignty has been completely
that's a fact.
eroded.
No, folks, we are becoming look, right,
an EU satellite.
Yes, no, we're becoming like if you imagine how we look on the map, on the world map, we're becoming a USB stick.
Okay.
Yeah? There's a thing on the way called the Celtic
No one wants to be a USB stick, by the way.
No. Of course not. So we all know our carbon tax is coming, all right? 28 billion in the next year and a half. Higher than the national debt combined for the last 10 years.
Mm-hmm.
One fine. To make sure that fine doesn't happen again.
Which I think is a complete con job, but anyway.
Oh, it's brutal. It's so stupid. To make sure that 28 billion fine doesn't happen again, we're also putting 23 billion into a thing called the Celtic Interconnector, which is essentially going to be, we're going to allow private business to go through our infrastructure and supply electricity to other places that want to purchase it. We're not going to be generating or selling it. Private business will be. The money that we would collect is toll money. Folks, ask yourselves, do we own any of our toll bridges? Yeah?
No.
Exactly.
No.
Our benefit that they are giving us, that they are saying that we get from this is we have secure electricity. You know what I mean? That like our electricity won't go out during like Storm Darragh.
All right,
like last year.
I can guarantee it will. If that ever happened again, it'll do the exact same thing.
In my whole lifetime, that's the longest electricity ever went out. And you're telling me that's worth spending 23 billion of our money?
Yes.
So I've just listed in two things, 51 billion euro that will go into private industry. 51 billion of generated tax revenue.
But also that the 23 billion to spend to secure electricity, you can spend all that 23 billion euro and it still won't stop what happened last year. It's still going to happen, but obviously it's not like other some countries, third world countries in the world, where they only get electricity for an hour a day. Mm-hmm. That's never going to happen in this country ever, even without the 23 billion. 100% not.
Like it was, what was it? It was like the storm of the century or something. They were calling it back then. Yeah, Storm Darragh would be the storm of the century.
Sean Thornton, massive shout out to Sean.
Hello, Sean.
Great guy who's not his real name, but I know him very well.
Okay.
Great discussion, both lads speaking truth. Fair play, Sean.
Thank you.
Went from Offaly to Dublin over the weekend, added about 20 minutes to the journey. That's from Emmett. I went from Swinford to Wicklow through Dublin, and about 4 minutes in Mullingar, I was delayed because I had to go in and collect stuff. Every time I say that, it's like you had to go in and collect drugs, but it wasn't. It was going to collect merch.
Yeah. I'm going to give a shout out while you're reading. Shout out to Mark, who did help. We had a lady show up who was actually genuinely stuck, not because of the protest, because she wasn't actually sure where to go because of the protest.
Okay.
And we walked her right down to her spot where she could still get the Lewis, still get the bus.
Yes.
Yeah. You're talking a really small area, really small area. You'd walk the whole thing that was blocked in 5 minutes.
Yes.
But she came back after she got to the hospital and said, "I got there on time. Thank you, lads."
Oh, wow.
A big hug, and it was like, we done something.
Again, community spirit.
My grandfather, the man that I look up to more than anybody in this world, he's currently undergoing chemo treatment and stuff like that. He was God bless Irish Cancer Society. A part of the services, he has his own little chauffeur, like a taxi driver or whatever. He got there.
Yeah, good.
And he was in Dublin. He got from Dublin to Drogheda, and he got there.
Yeah.
Now that's two personal experiences. One where we helped.
There was loads of messages like that. I got into the hospital quicker than I ever got. Now I did get a couple that said, we were waiting 3 hours, we never got in. But there, in reality, I think there were far and few between.
Yes.
And they try to be as unavoidable as possible, but it is unavoidable sometimes that you are going to get caught up.
Yeah, we had a few fire brigades and stuff fly through, like with the sirens, and they didn't have to drop their speed.
Yeah.
I mean, these boys know how to organise. They know how to work. They're sensible men out there.
Sensible men, common sense, which seems to be
nice
too common anymore.
Such caliber of men for a while. Do you know what I mean?
Fantastic.
Because it's hard found. It is hard found. Like where it's that many. Or smell a bull ball is all about the place.
Yeah, suddenly that's taken the horn off me.
You shouldn't have been there in the first place, you fucker.
Right. I'll get through some of these messages.
Go ahead.
It was a very respectful assembly. 100% it was. We've done that. Who should you vote for in your opinion, lads? No confidence vote. We will talk about the actual blockades as well in a few minutes.
I hate that word.
Yes, I hate that word too, but that's what they're calling it. No confidence vote tomorrow, 100%. Get onto your TDs, get onto your councillors to get onto the TDs. That I have a source that says that we're very close to getting a no confidence vote. We need about 3 or 4. We need about 3 or 4 backbenchers or independents or whatever to vote no confidence.
I love you guys, but you have put your trust in me. While I will support that, it's a wasted effort without our direct citizens initiative. Like, you have to understand, it's like it's the job requirements right now, and we need to expand on what those requirements are. Like,
but I do
changing the face is useless without changing the system that it operates under.
But can we not do that after the fact?
Yes, that's why I'm saying I will support this.
Yes.
I will support this.
We can do that after the fact.
Yeah, boom.
But I do think no matter who gets in, as I said, the two faces that are put forward, they need to.
It'll be a victory for
gone.
the people.
Absolutely,
but definitely not the finality.
Absolutely, and as I said in the beginning of this, it's not that I wanted to overthrow the two people.
No.
I wanted them to be strong for a stronger Ireland.
Mm-hmm. I just hope we don't get locked into an even longer term government that ends up doing an even worse job.
What happens tomorrow if no confidence vote if it doesn't pass tomorrow? That's another good question, Emmett. I think that was the last question I read out as well.
We have the solution. We just need traction.
Okay.
We need traction. That's the only thing. We need traction on that.
But if the no confidence doesn't pass,
it doesn't matter.
Okay.
I would be happy to see them out. It's just the way it is. I would like that for us and a little morale boost.
Yeah, but I think the country needs a morale boost.
It doesn't matter.
Which is an awful thing when you're looking for a morale boost to oust and the.
I hope we can.
The demise of two people.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Can't really trust them, so could be false hope. That's an obviously reference to a comment that I made.
Macara, I do.
I walked from I walk from Sinn Féin too.
Me too.
They're absolutely traitors. I think that's coming from the top. I think people go into Sinn Féin with the idea that they're going to make a difference. 10 independent TDs voting for no confidence would collapse the government. I'd have to double check that. I'd like to think that's true. As I said, I will be appealing to independents and everyone.
And what happens in the interim period?
Well, what does happen?
Yeah, you know what does happen.
Yeah,
you know, if we get that confidence vote, do we just all of a sudden have no government?
I don't think that. I think there's a transition period.
Mm-hmm.
So obviously, it's a bit like any time a government transitions. I think there's a transition period.
Yeah.
Well, obviously there is.
Yeah,
I mean,
they stay in office for a certain amount.
It's like when a manager quits at a football club. The system, the mechanisms that are there to keep everything going. Like it's not going to be the.
So we actually don't need
the purge. The purge isn't going to happen if there's a no confidence vote, which they'd like you to believe it would. Emmett is very, very logical. A lot of them, even if they're on side with us, would be voting to lose their jobs. I don't know of a politician these days who would sacrifice. That is true, Emmett. The only thing I'll say about that is if I can guarantee you, if they voted no confidence vote and they went again, they would 100% get voted in.
Yeah.
Do you understand what I'm saying?
Yes,
if they lost their jobs, if they went independent, or even if they went, they would 100% get.
Or back in as TDs.
Yes.
Oh, probably.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
I well believe it.
Yeah, yeah. It's like anything. I mean, even yourself, if you decided to not travel the country anymore, your home base would take care of it.
Yes.
It's the same with any industry.
Yeah.
You know. Yeah, yeah.
And I do believe that.
It would be nice though to see them as backbenchers.
Yes. Yes. No other candidates. Don't know what that means. We have to get that gobshite McEntee out to 100%. She is the most hypocritical lady. God forgive me for calling her lady, but I'll give her the benefit of the doubt that I've ever seen in government. It's like the who's who of who not to elect. Pierce Donovan. We need a plan for the next general election. Get competent independents. Very good point, Pierce. We need a plan
small council
for next general election. Get competent independents, Independent Ireland, and to come together. Not Sinn Féin. We need to have 2 to 3 good candidates in constituency to vote for. Pierce, you're 100% correct. That's exactly what we need, and I know that won't come overnight either. But it needs to be in the short to medium term. That has to be a prerogative. We need a strong opposition. And you sound like a man with a plan. Great chat. People just need to keep being creative and meet locally. And until we change, let's keep the peaceful revolution rolling. We have all suffered enough. That's Era says no. Now, another thing is keep the peaceful...
enlightened revolution.
Yes, revolution going. And that's the very important word, peaceful. You have to hold your dignity. You have to hold your head. And there's a lot of questions in it. One of the questions here is why did the protesters remain peaceful? But I think it was by far the best strategy. If you go down the violence route, you've lost.
Never ever going to advocate for violence ever.
Yeah.
But
it is the last and the very last straw.
It's
especially against your fellow man.
Yeah, it's hard for us to grasp, okay? But a lot of our lines of like kings and queens and stuff, they're gone. The flight of the Earls was probably one of the most tragic things that happened in this country. We've had so many uprisings and battles as well. Your bravest go out to fight.
Yes.
And your bravest die.
Yes.
And fight after fight, our bravest die and die and die and die. Now,
that
unfortunately, we are either the survivors or the hiders. That's who you are amongst us. You know what I mean? Like, we're either the survivors of a fight or the hiders of a fight.
Great point.
You know? And when I see stuff like that, where, like, again, I'm not advocating for this. I'm just simply saying a response, like how the response happened. We come from a people that have been badly beaten down. Do you know, like you are the sum of your last 22 ancestors. Yeah. And fuck artificial intelligence. It's ancestral intelligence.
Absolutely
Like,
abysmal. I hate it.
now,
with a
what I
passion.
mean by this, folks, right, is Stephen's triggers will be very, very different than my triggers, just simply because of those 22 previous ancestors. These things are real. You can go look them up now. Ancestral memory is a real thing. I'm not talking about actual vivid pictures, but your ancestral memory is in you.
Your chemistry.
Yes. Some people's body responds differently to injustice than other people. Yeah. And that could be for many, many different things. Maybe you were a victim of injustice, or maybe you were the one that was supposed to protect those that were suffering the injustice. But there's very few of those people. Yeah. The sons of Shane are those people, by the way. Kellys are those people, by the way. That's actually very, very true. Families like O'Kanes, the O'Neills, all of these people. These are the very, very small amount that are left. A lot of us didn't even have names. Do you know, like you were named after the person that ruled you. You know, now in Brehon times the idea of ruling was very, very different. Like we were a bottom-up society. Do you know, like the idea of an authority was completely alien to us. You know, the idea of your law punishing you for doing something wrong was completely alien to us. Like being hurt by the system, it's not in our bones. It's why people are still fighting now, because we had restorative justice. That was there with us for 4,000 bloody years. Do you know what I mean? We've only had 300 odd years of it entirely locked into penal law. You know, this system by nature is against our very core. You know, and it's always going to rattle us. We had one of the most genius systems that was ever created in a world that is screaming out to save the health of this planet. It was Brehon law that would have saved it all. All it had to do was survive to modernize itself. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, we had slavery. We did.
All civilizations.
Yeah, we did.
And many of the Islamic regimes have slavery. All over the world. And
no, not to justify any of it, but for its time, it was one of the only systems where a slave could genuinely work their way out of slavery, and all the way up to kingship.
Yes,
you know, women had more rights then than they did the 300 years following, up until the suffragettes.
Yes,
you know, like that's called coverture, folks. Yeah. Now, this is why I really, really oppose things like McCursor, and why I advocate for learning history, because when I say about the politicians stepping into a revolving door, I'm not talking about some like 2,000-year-old conspiracy like they read a book and this is next step. History is literally the playbook.
Yeah.
It is the playbook where you learn.
Well, if you don't know your history, it's bound to repeat itself.
Yes, you learn your lessons from history, and history only. The reason why I was so strongly opposed to McCursor is it's simply because of those facts. You know, like I think I kind of went off on a tangent there. Sorry for the live problems there. But where were we? Coverture, yes. So coverture was introduced by the British Empire, and it essentially turned women into the property of the man that they were under. Like if a woman stepped out of line, it was the man that was punished. If a woman, if a single woman had committed a crime, she was essentially doomed to being single forever, because now she came with a penalty. Do you know what I mean? With a price. Yes. No, this was the British Empire. Coverture is called. Yeah. Now, most of the world basically had to adopt some form of model of that, simply because if they didn't, their country's economy would collapse, because the British Empire was so strong.
Yes.
Now, that also allowed the British Empire to spread to 90% of the world. So, folks, when you see women rising up and slowly gaining their rights, and more power to every single one of you, understand that came from colonizers. It came from people who wanted to be globalists, you know. But coverture, that is the root of all evil when it comes to woman suppression.
Yes.
You know, which is one of the most horrible things that ever actually happened in our history.
What you're saying, women are the root of all evil.
Yes. Yes. And I've 3 of them at home.
No, we jest, of course.
Yes. I've been absolutely lost without the women in my life.
Absolutely. They're the backbone of Ireland.
Yeah.
We're already on, oh Jesus, we're nearly on 2 hours.
Really?
Yeah. So we could do this again.
If you enjoyed it, put the hands up. You want me back, because I've got a life story to tell.
So many questions and comments.
Nice.
Yes, I'm going to just skip through a few of them. Damien McShane says, yes, I am watching
That's my
Darragh.
father.
No, very good. Shout out to Daddy McShane. Martin and Harris,
the biggest homo in the country.
Martin and Harris are not going to let their stint in EU residency slide. Well, I thought that as well. You are correct.
I think that's what they're shaking in their boots about.
Yes.
Their entire resume is about to be torn apart.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah. I do believe that's what they're clinging on to, and will try their very best. Be aware of people giving out false information. The problem with all these comments is some of them are so... I can't skip them through them all.
I have an educated bunch on my page. An educated bunch. I don't have idiots that are
absolutely.
Followers.
And I like to think that the majority of my followers have the intelligence to pick out the false information to the patriotic information. And
something I would be totally wrong if we missed this. It was about the government's press conference yesterday, the whole 10-cent thing and all of that.
Yeah.
Do not despair. Okay, because that's what you call a low ball offer. If I want to save money, I'm going to offer you my lowest possible price. If they offered us 10 cents, you better believe there's 50 or 60 cents more on top of that. Okay, the fact that they even acknowledge that we're winning, we are winning. The protest didn't go anywhere, and they said we're not going to show you what we have in store until you go. But yet they did. There was a journalist, a female journalist, that was in that press conference. And she said to him, if someone can find her, that lady needs her own news outlet. I would trust that woman. Yeah. She said to the Taoiseach, you said that the protest wouldn't work, but it clearly did, because they just got a €500 million package. So the blockades worked.
750 million, I think.
It was 250 initially, and then 500.
Yeah, okay.
So he was saying that the blockades couldn't possibly work. It was never going to work. And she turned around and she told him, well, it did work, because it worked to the tune of €500 million. Yeah, so well done. But that's barter. When you show up at a market, that is bartering with the owner.
Yes.
Yeah, that was just simply a low ball offer. And we turned around and we said no. The protests don't seem to be going anywhere.
And they won't go anywhere either. Yeah. Now, is Sherry, or Sherry? Could be Jerry O'Sullivan. I don't know. Whatever way it's wrote here. Second lowest unemployment rate in Europe. I think we should also look at the positive.
Yes.
We are not living in the caves. You are 100% right.
Yes.
And I've maintained this. I want a better Ireland. Not, I know we're not dying in the caves, but I do feel as well that second unemployment rate, also you have to check at the band of them jobs as well. Where are a little bit higher paid jobs, low paid jobs. Sounds great. Also, working class, even middle class people I describe them as ducks.
Yeah.
So they look lovely on the top of the water, but underneath they're paddling furiously.
Being employed is only good so far, but when the quality of life is raised to the point that it's an unaffordable luxury, that's very different.
Yes,
I mean, we all know the crack. We've all heard it 1,000 times. 20 years ago, you could work one job and buy a house. Yeah, currently, my family has 3 jobs between them, and my kids get to be a family.
And they're working as well.
Yes. My kids have 2 hours of the day and a weekday where we're a family.
Yeah.
I mean, I work nights, and then I look after the kids during the day while mommy's at work.
Yes.
And then, sure what, she's home at 6. They're toddlers. They're going to bed at 8.
Yes.
They have 2 hours of the day where we're a family. We've got 3. Yeah, they are. But there's 3 jobs in our house, and don't get me wrong, we're not in a bad situation, but I mean, we're bursting our arse.
Yes,
proper
and my thing with that is we're living in a country that was awash with money, right, and has so much opportunity, and yet the majority of people are bursting their arses.
Yes, the 28 billion tax. Okay, that's coming for our carbon emissions. Our carbon emissions. Our yearly emissions, China will do in one day, and they don't pay any fines.
Oh, this is it. We're getting punished for the rest of the world.
1 day's worth of pollution in China is a year of ours, and we are paying 28 billion. If you have your calculator right there,
you don't need a calculator. It's wrong.
Divide up 28 billion by 5 million people, and you'll realize how much tax you're really paying. Yeah, because your wage could be going up by 5 or 10 grand on just 1 or 2 things. Yes, and that is truth.
a big double OG1. Why have the Gardaí turned off the comments on the social media posts? Because the narrative they
Justification
are
model.
pushing false and they don't want to be called out. Well, of course.
It's the model of justification.
Of course. And as I said as well, I've always had the greatest respect for the man on the ground in the blue outfit. I've always respected them. They've always treated me fairly well, even when I was a bad boy.
Yeah, like
If you're fair with them, I found they'll be fair with you. But clearly there is a nefarious element in the force, and whether it's been interjected in and injected into the force for these type of events, well, that's debatable as well. And I truly believe that there's an awful lot of people with Northern Irish accents suddenly in.
Oh yeah.
So do you believe that they're being brought down from?
We don't have that many guards.
Yeah,
like
that was another thing.
There is so
400 guards
Yeah.
called in sick.
Yeah,
but suddenly there was more guards than there ever was in the streets.
I can tell you this, all right. There was a meeting of soldiers. I think it was on the Thursday. 9 of them were brought in. The next day, 5 of them called in sick.
Yeah.
I know a soldier personally as well, and he said 99% of the soldiers he talks to would say no.
Yeah.
They're in the same boat.
Yeah.
And boys, someone who loves you and knows you personally, that means a lot. That does mean a lot. You know, big time.
I know it does.
You know,
100%.
It does. Yeah.
And I know that I got messages like. And I know that also that there was a lot of people that were pre-warned when this was going to happen. Obviously, it didn't happen in time in Dublin. Yeah. That was we'll wrap it up fairly quickly because we're 2 hours in here now.
We ramble all day for sure. Yeah.
We'll talk about what happened at the end in Dublin. Great podcast. Thank you so much. This is a great conversation tonight, lads. Well done, Sophia. I'm not even going to be able to get in, but I think pretty much all of the questions were pretty much answered anyway from what I looked through. Though I was
I'll take a picture of them. I'll answer them in my own.
Yes,
these are all.
Yes, I will.
Anyway.
Yes, I will send them all. Any views on the National Party seem like grassroots, decent people with principles. Just learning about them. No more than me, Gab. No more than me. I must look into them and have a proper opinion on them. I just don't know enough about them. Yourself, Darragh?
I've met 1 or 2 of them. They are good chaps, yeah. I'm just against using vulnerable situations for political points. And I will talk to these lads and we'll still shake hands and all of that type of stuff. But and I understand they're kind of doing what's necessary to gain their traction too. So I'm kind of at a conflict on that.
Yes.
You know, I like the lads, I do, and I'm not speaking in a bad way. I'm just.
You need to know more.
I'm just speaking in an honest way. I don't want to see things in the future that I've already seen from.
Yes.
Learn the mistakes of why we don't trust these other parties.
Yes.
You know, big time. Reinstate 48. The TD or the party that says that, you will gain the biggest advocate that you can possibly gain, because that's the bottom line for me. And I know it's going to become the bottom line for a lot of people after tonight.
There you go.
I want to see reinstate 48 everywhere. Because it's the only thing with our current construct of our constitution and then the EU regulations. That's our only logical way out of this. I can't put it.
That is the silver bullet.
It is. It absolutely is. Yeah.
Karen says, "Great to see you live." Thank you so much, Karen. Shamanic practitioner, and our ancestral spirit is rising in us all.
Yes.
Peace and fairness is our goal. 100%.
We're a tribal people.
Could not agree with you anymore. Karen Delaney said, "No, that was probably about me giving out about women that I jest, of course."
She was good crack. I really, really enjoyed your podcast.
Oh, Karen. Yes, I didn't make the connection.
You made me laugh.
Yes,
you made me tear up.
Big shout out.
Yes, I love when you have a fresh podcast and I'm sitting at work, because
there's another one coming in the morning.
Yeah, really?
Yeah,
nice.
yeah.
Don't tell us who it's with.
Okay.
But you put it out early, and so I actually get to listen to that at work, and it's just, that's the best. But Karen, you were unexpectedly my favorite one. Yeah.
For anyone watching, go back and it's the last podcast.
Yes, it's the last one before this. Yeah.
So
I'd like to meet you, Karen.
Go back and check it out. Sligo lady, born and bred.
Yeah, I'm only 45 minutes away.
We'll make it happen. It is time to get Ireland back to being for the Irish and the government to make life for the Irish great again. They've lined their pockets up for too long and wasted taxpayers' money. 100%.
We forget because it didn't happen in our lifetime. What we were promised did not happen.
Yeah.
Simple as.
And Ireland for the Irish, yes, 100%. I completely agree with that. But let's look after the people that are in here already and show. I'm not going to look for mass deportation. Only the people that shouldn't be here, and slow down the people that are coming in. That has to stop.
Chivalry has to exist.
Yes,
it has to.
And we need to build up. Or if we're going bringing people in, we need to our infrastructure to match the people that we're bringing in.
I said that in James's podcast. I have to.
We don't have the infrastructure.
Shout out to you, James.
And that's going to cause trouble.
Yeah.
And animosity.
Yeah. I'm happy to help anybody, but I'm not going to step on the heads of my own people to be seen as the first one helping.
Yes. That's brilliant.
No, that's not happening.
Tell him I said, come on the town, McAvoy.
Up the town. Hey. Folks, another thing we need to be wary of, right, is that I know this was just simply the straw that broke the camel's back that got the ball rolling for what is the revolution.
Yes,
we are officially in a revolution. It is the age of enlightenment all over again. Here comes the age of revolution all over again. But one thing we need to be aware of is the price of outrage can't be €2 a litre, because that's a very, very measurable barometer right there. That is a tool that would be used against us.
What's that?
The price of outrage can't be €2 a litre.
Oh, right. Yes, sorry.
Does that make sense?
Yes, I understand that completely.
That's too measurable. That's a tangible thing.
Yes.
And there's a weapon.
So that's bringing back to the point. It's not just about fuel.
It's a civil rights movement.
Yeah.
It's a revolution. Other countries have joined in. It's not a protest when other countries join in. It's a movement.
And I believe that
Shout out France.
EU is putting just about to say it. The EU is putting pressure under the Irish politicians because they're afraid that if we succeed, a bit like the French Revolution in reverse.
Yes.
So American Revolution happened
this is it.
because of the success of the French Revolution.
Yeah, and even the women's rights. They watched what happened in England.
So therefore, the France are looking at us. If we succeed or get any bit of softness at all, the French are going to nail.
No, this is it, folks. We are leading the way.
That's a bigger country. Yeah. So, like I said, I'm getting animated now.
I know.
Like I said, the world is watching, and we have a massive opportunity.
We're leading the way
to set the standard. Not for the first time.
Go to my page right now. The pinned post. You will see it. Ireland can change the world. Not by persuasion. I believe it means just by being an example. And we are officially leading the way. Folks, we're one of the smallest country in the EU in terms of population.
And I wouldn't say this. I don't think.
I'm not sure on that. I'll find that out and I'll let you know on that, right? But we are leading the way on one of the biggest movements of our lifetime. Every single person that has been out in the street or supported this, you've put yourself on the right side of history. You are in history right now. It's just not as glamorous as it looks in the books or the movies, huh? I
honestly, and many times the Irish have what the contribution that we've had on mankind and on society, we've often topped the polls.
Oh yeah,
in no matter where you are in the world.
I would advise everyone read into Brahen's system.
Yeah,
and how beautiful it could be. Hey,
but we have another opportunity to do so right now as well.
Oh yeah.
Michael McCarthy's account has been locked. Go fund for farmers truckers.
Wow, no way.
Obviously, that's a higher echelon that has blocked that.
Wow,
I'm sure that will get sorted.
Shout out Michael.
Great shout out to Michael.
That was a great effort to put in there.
Great effort. Shout out to Michael McCarthy. Lovely fella, and really, I believe that what he's trying to do is right. National debt stands at €232 billion. It's incredible.
Add 28 on top of that, and then another 23
another
for the
51.
infrastructure.
Great podcast, great conversation, lots of topics covered and articulated very well, lads. Thank you so much. Should we leave the EU? We should definitely look into it, Pierce. I know that the Brits made a bad example of leaving the EU.
Look, are you a nationalist or imperialist? There is no in between.
Yeah.
The EU by nature has to take more than it gives. It might not look like that at the beginning, but it would collapse. It wouldn't be able to fund itself if it didn't take more than it gives. You know, like what you're watching is a siphon. It's a siphon of, like, look at Dublin, for example, okay? If you look at like all of our roads and motorways and all of our business, it goes like this towards Dublin, like it's a big wart in the middle of the country. And I love Dublin. I'm just using that as a description, okay?
Mhm.
Like everything goes to a nucleus. It's the same bloody thing with the EU. Like, yes, they put money into us and they help build us up.
Microphone.
Sorry, they put money into us and they help build us up. But they're right now, with those fines, they're taking it right back. And we have to work twice as hard just to pay for them to supply us.
Yes.
Like, not to own a home.
Working harder than a
Yeah.
cucumber in a female prison.
Right, look, folks, right? A system that's telling you they want a sustainable world while not teaching you how to be sustainable yourself is a hypocrisy in itself.
Yes.
You know?
Oh, 100%.
It's just the reality of it. Like, folks, I know a lot about plants and nature and stuff. Like, there's trees out there that could fix half of our nitrogen problems in one season.
Yeah.
There's plants that can go right alongside that and double the fertility of the
But
soil.
you see, that doesn't make enough money
Of course
for the
not.
government.
Yeah,
That's the
yeah.
problem. It's
Yeah.
all down
So
to
by
money.
nature, it's a hypocrisy.
Yeah.
You know?
But it's all down to money. And that's why I want to see as a government that can think from the land, from ground level up. And there's so many things that we're doing wrong. There's so many things that could be changed. They're not going to change overnight.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
it can definitely go down a better route.
Absolutely,
and I
yeah.
do believe that Ireland, this is why I keep pushing it all the time. If there's any country that can make the change, it's this country.
Yeah, let's get them to put their money where their mouth is as well, right? A lot of people won't know this, but there's schemes out there for housing estates that you can get your own electric grid. You can get funded to start your own electricity grid. The catch with it is your line can't run across a neighbour that isn't also attached to the grid. So it would have to be a full communal thing.
Yes.
Now, if you ask me, that's very Brehon. That's extremely Brehon right there.
Okay, yes.
Now, look, they put these things on paper just to show the EU that they're doing them, but they don't actually advertise them.
Okay.
But people like me find them things. Yeah.
Yes.
Entire housing estates.
Well, that's why the people like you need platforms to make people aware of this.
Yeah, but I have to admit, man, this isn't me. It really isn't, you know. Like, I love it. I do love it, but there's things that I just love more. You know, like I would love to do shows. I really, really would.
You
Like, I will. And I've got so many ideas, man. You know, but it's just I'm
even
writing.
live podcasts, live chats.
Yeah, I do enjoy it.
You don't have to be doing stand up. You don't have to be doing I know you can rap.
I knew you were going to do it.
Well, that just popped into my head. You're not going to... Any chance you'll do a rap before we wrap it up?
Right, so listen, man, you got a helping hand. You can always lean on me. I know I don't have a plan, and I too have been struggling. I've been taking chances. I've been damaged. I've been out here hustling, trying to keep a balance, chicken scratching at the surface of something massive. But sometimes you just got to slow down. See, I've got a secret flow found. It came from the Garden of Eden, and your speakers are probably bleeding with the voice you're hearing. But I know you feel it. So whatever you're doing, please believe me. You can always lean on me when you're not. But nah, fuck that. You are strong. You're top dog, lockjaw, all balls, born raw, plenty of flaws, but many applaud. You're protected by God. You're destined for all kinds of crazy shit, and you just got to step forward. And should you fall, you can lean on me. See, I'll push you on. I'm in your corner. Something wrong, I'll be your shoulder. I'll be a soldier. I try to show you all the things you have before you. I'll always be the first to tell you if you're doing great or if you're headed straight for failure. And mistakes you make, I'd never blame you. Like a bad Chinese restaurant, I'd never take away from you. And I'd make you laugh with all the dumb shit that I say to you. So we can go forth hand to hand. I'm with you, sister, or man to man. And I'll listen and accept, even if I can't understand. Join me. So lean on me when you're not strong, and I'll be your friend. Now,
wow.
We'd end on that.
No,
I
that was
knew
brilliant.
he was going to get me to do that. Now you can see me going right.
Now do the rap.
No. He's no what, folks, right? I'm going to turn it back on Stephen. Stephen is an amazing poet too. And there's one that he did it at one show, and I was like, wow. But I was drunk. So I got him to repeat it in the car, and he did, and I still got that wow. So go. Remember the one with the hair. But you say bunny, I think.
What's that?
There's a bunny in a line. It's
Bunny.
about a rabbit. It's not the poem about... You know what? Give us one.
Well, maybe there is, but the one that's coming to the top of my head is the one that from the... Oh, that's Jim Morrison. No, I wrote one myself.
Okay.
So, and we're going to end this on this poem. I know this. We could be here for hours and hours, but we're on exactly 2 hours right now, and I think that's a good time.
Mm.
We'll definitely get you back, and we'll be talking about this maybe sooner rather than later. And
Yeah.
I'm going to try and remember the poem. So here goes. If that's the want that keeps you on the land of this great shore, and the power of the harp and shamrock makes you dream about it more, then we toast the believers, the achievers, the poets, and the clowns as we celebrate our customs in every vale and town. And we who call this host is eternally our home, with our history before us, the world we've had to roam. From Sydney to Toronto, right down to San Francisco Bay, from Boston, New York, and Chicago, the Irish led their way. So from Ireland's ancient east, across to its wonderful wild west, from its rugged north down to its beautiful south, we'll raise a toast to Ireland, be it whiskey or be it stout.
Stephen Cowboy Kelly, Darragh McShane, from Ireland to the world.
There you go. If you've enjoyed this podcast, tell everyone. If you didn't, tell absolutely no one. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you so much for getting involved. And until the next time, stay safe, stay healthy.
And stay away from yourself.
Bingo. Take care. Yes. Yip, 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 yip.